Hello friends. What happens when fire meets earth? Or when a wild archer aims their heart at a watery soul? Welcome to the curious case of Sagittarius in love, especially in marriage. This sign, ruled by the ever-expanding planet Jupiter, is not here to play safe. Sagittarians are the adventurers of the Zodiac, always seeking truth, meaning, and the next big thrill. So, what happens when they say, "I do"? Let's find out how Sagittarius connects with every other zodiac sign in marriage. Sagittarius plus Aries. Fire meets fire. Sparks fly, literally. This isn't just a passionate connection, it's an all-consuming inferno. When Sagittarius and Aries collide in marriage, it's the cosmic equivalent of a rocket launch. These two signs share a fierce zest for life, unshakable independence, and an appetite for excitement that borders on reckless. It's not just love, it's an adventure from day one. Aries, the cardinal fire sign, initiates action with relentless drive, while Sagittarius, the mutable fire sign, adds vision, laughter, and a philosophical edge to every journey. Together, they don't just fall in love, they leap. They're both optimists by nature. Glass half full. Try overflowing. Sag brings an infectious enthusiasm for life, and Aries matches it with unshakable confidence. They'll pump each other up with, "What if we moved to Bali," or "Let's start our own business." And the next thing you know, they're booking flights or printing business cards. This is a marriage that thrives on momentum, constantly propelled forward by shared goals and the thrill of the unknown. They don't just support each other's dreams, they challenge each other to dream bigger. But here's the kicker, they both hate being told what to do. Aries is a leader. Sagittarius is a free spirit. When they're in sync, this makes them an unstoppable duo. But when opinions clash or plans go sideways, that fire can turn volcanic. Arguments aren't rare, they're practically sport. Sagittarius will hurl a truth bomb with zero filter, and Aries, already sensitive to criticism, might snap back with a sharp edge. Their conflicts are fast, loud, and occasionally brutal. Yet the beauty lies in their ability to forgive just as quickly. Neither likes to dwell on the past, which can be their salvation. Spontaneity is their love language. This couple doesn't follow a routine, they write their own script. Monday might be a camping trip. Wednesday, a salsa class. Saturday, skydiving. Their home may look more like a travel hub than a domestic sanctuary, and that's how they like it. Aries energizes Sagittarius's wanderlust, while Sagittarius feeds Aries's desire to conquer new experiences. Together, they redefine what settling down even means. Who says marriage has to be static? Trust, however, can be a tricky terrain. Aries has a possessive streak and may demand loyalty in a way that feels suffocating to Sag, who values freedom above all. Meanwhile, Sagittarius might interpret emotional intensity as pressure. The solution? Radical honesty and clear boundaries. They must learn that commitment doesn't have to feel like a cage, it can be the launchpad for everything they want to build together. Emotional maturity is key, without it, jealousy and miscommunication can burn bridges they'll regret. What truly elevates this marriage is the mutual respect for each other's independence. They both need room to breathe, to grow individually, and to chase personal passions without guilt. This relationship isn't built on constant proximity, it's built on shared ideals and the thrill of reuniting after time apart. When they trust each other to live freely, they often come back stronger. It's not about controlling the flame, it's about dancing in it together. Marriage verdict, passionate and dynamic. This union burns bright and fast, but with emotional intelligence and mutual respect, it can sustain itself for the long haul. Keep fueling each other's fire, support each other's wildest dreams, and never stop exploring, both the world and each other. Sagittarius plus Taurus. Now here's a plot twist, freedom-loving Sag meets comfort-seeking Taurus. This pairing is the definition of opposites attract, if they can attract at all. Sagittarius is the wild arrow that shoots across the sky, always chasing the next adventure, while Taurus is the earth beneath your feet, steady, dependable, and deeply rooted. One lives for spontaneity, the other finds peace in predictability. Sagittarius wants to climb mountains on a whim, while Taurus wants to renovate the kitchen and plan for retirement. At first glance, it seems impossible. But with effort, and a whole lot of patience, something truly remarkable can emerge: balance. Taurus craves emotional security and routine like bread and butter. They are loyal, sensual, and driven by the need to build something lasting, whether it's a home, a family, or a 5-year plan. They thrive when life is stable, when they know what's coming next. Sagittarius, on the other hand, is allergic to stagnation. They need novelty like oxygen. Change isn't scary to them, it's thrilling. The thought of doing the same thing, the same way, every day. That's their personal nightmare. So how do these two coexist in marriage? By redefining what security and freedom actually mean, together. Communication becomes the make-or-break factor. Taurus often speaks in actions, showing love through consistency, gifts, and time. Sagittarius is more verbal, philosophical, even flirty. Taurus may misunderstand Sag's expressive nature as inconsistency, while Sag may see Taurus's grounded ways as emotionally flat. They must learn to translate each other's languages. Taurus needs to trust that Sag's heart can be loyal, even if their schedule isn't. And Sagittarius must show up in ways that prove commitment doesn't equal confinement. Financially, they also walk different paths. Taurus is a saver. Sag, a spender. Taurus will want to invest in property, savings accounts, and long-term security, while Sagittarius may drop money on last-minute flights, spontaneous classes, or extravagant experiences. Unless they build a shared financial philosophy, where fun and responsibility can coexist, they may constantly butt heads. Marriage means creating a budget that honors both, an emergency fund and a "let's fly to Rome next weekend" fund. Romance between them is slow-burning but surprisingly rich when nurtured. Taurus is sensual, tactile, and deeply affectionate. They prefer a deep, steady love. Sagittarius is more playful, flirtatious, and experimental. While Taurus may find Sag's restlessness unsettling, they'll also be enchanted by their vitality and sense of wonder. Sagittarius, meanwhile, may discover unexpected joy in Taurus's physical presence and emotional loyalty. If they learn to appreciate what the other brings, their love life can become a powerful fusion of pleasure and passion. Jealousy and possessiveness are tricky. Taurus may become clingy if they feel Sag drifting. And Sag, if cornered, will rebel or run. The key is mutual trust, and giving each other room to breathe. Sagittarius must reassure Taurus that they're not escaping, just recharging. Taurus must resist the urge to tether Sagittarius to the ground. Instead of holding the reins tighter, they must trust that if the connection is strong, the archer will always return home. The magic truly happens when they create a lifestyle that honors both stability and adventure. Maybe that looks like a peaceful home base with frequent travel. Or a shared business that blends Taurus's practicality with Sag's big ideas. When they co-create their rhythm, one that includes both dinner at home and midnight drives to nowhere, they find themselves in a dynamic, supportive union. It's not easy. It's not fast. But when both are all in, it's unforgettable. Marriage verdict: challenging, but transformative. This relationship asks for constant compromise, honest communication, and deep patience. But if they meet each other halfway, Taurus softening rigidity, Sagittarius embracing roots, this yin-yang love can be both grounding and exhilarating. It's the kind of marriage that grows slowly but lasts a lifetime. Sagittarius plus Gemini. Air fuels fire, and these two. They're mental soulmates. This pairing is a cosmic cocktail of curiosity, charm, and chaos, in the best possible way. Sagittarius and Gemini are opposite signs in the zodiac wheel, but instead of clashing, they tend to complete each other in wildly unpredictable ways. Together, they form a mental and energetic match that rarely sits still. They don't fall in love with each other's looks first, they fall for each other's minds. Conversations stretch into the early hours, bouncing from conspiracy theories to existential debates to, what if we sold everything and lived in a van? This marriage isn't traditional, it's experimental, exciting, and fueled by a mutual desire to explore everything life has to offer. Both Sagittarius and Gemini are born explorers, but while Sag wants to traverse continents and chase meaning, Gemini wants to sample every idea in the intellectual buffet. Gemini lives in the mind, quick, clever, adaptable. Sagittarius lives in the realm of truth and big-picture thinking, blunt, philosophical, always aiming higher. Together, they create a relationship built on endless fascination. One day they're discussing the evolution of language, the next they're booking a last-minute trip to Costa Rica just to see what happens. Life with these two is never boring, and they both absolutely love that about each other. Their communication style is where they shine. These two don't just talk, they riff. The chemistry is fast, funny, and wildly entertaining. Sagittarius appreciates Gemini's clever comebacks and quick wit, while Gemini thrives on Sagittarius's honesty and spontaneity. They inspire each other intellectually and creatively, often finishing each other's thoughts or launching into joint passion projects with zero planning. If a relationship could be a TED Talk meets sitcom, it would be this one. In marriage, their ability to communicate keeps the bond fresh, fun, and mentally stimulating. But, and it's a big but, emotional depth doesn't come naturally to either sign. When things get heavy, Sagittarius tends to philosophize or detach, while Gemini might dodge, distract, or joke their way out. Conflict can feel like a lecture or a comedy skit rather than a meaningful dialogue. This can lead to avoidance of the deeper emotional work required for long-term commitment. If not addressed, feelings get buried, resentments build, and the marriage starts to feel like a highlight reel instead of a real-life connection. To thrive, both need to commit not just to the fun, but to the uncomfortable conversations that come with true intimacy. Both signs are highly independent, which can be a strength or a silent killer. Sagittarius needs freedom, freedom of thought, freedom of movement, and freedom from suffocating expectations. Gemini, while more social and flexible, also needs space to explore different ideas and people without judgment. If either partner becomes too clingy, jealous, or routine-obsessed, the other will likely start looking for an exit. The key is trust, not blind faith, but mutual respect for each other's need to explore life individually while choosing to come back to the relationship every time. Spontaneity is the heartbeat of this marriage. These two thrive on unplanned nights out, random adventures, and the ability to pivot from idea to action without overthinking. Planning a 5-year life strategy? Not likely. Booking a ticket to Morocco on a Tuesday? Absolutely. While this keeps the marriage alive with excitement, it also comes with a challenge: lack of structure. Bills still need to be paid. Responsibilities still exist. Unless they balance the fun with at least some form of practical foundation, the marriage could become ungrounded or chaotic over time. At its best, this union is a dynamic, electric love story where both partners grow continuously. They'll challenge each other's thinking, expand each other's worlds, and laugh through life's absurdities. They may not be the couple who posts yearly anniversary photos with sentimental captions, but they're the couple who spontaneously renews their vows while backpacking through South America. Their connection doesn't always look traditional, but it's deeply real in its own unconventional way. Marriage verdict: mentally magnetic, endlessly curious, and always moving forward. If Sagittarius and Gemini can learn to sit still long enough to dive into emotional truth, and stay present through the messy parts, they have the potential to create a marriage that's as lasting as it is legendary. Keep laughing, keep learning, and never stop choosing each other. Sagittarius plus Cancer. This one's tough. When Sagittarius and Cancer come together in marriage, it's less of a natural fit and more of a cosmic challenge, a story of two souls trying to build a bridge between vastly different emotional landscapes. Cancer is the sign of the home, of history, of emotional memory. They are intuitive, nurturing, and deeply sensitive to the emotional undercurrents in every interaction. Sagittarius, on the other hand, is the eternal wanderer, philosophical, restless, and driven by the desire to explore new horizons. One clings to the familiar for comfort. The other seeks the unknown for inspiration. At first glance, this union seems destined for misunderstanding, but with patience and purpose, there's something potentially powerful in the contrast. Cancer's world is built around security, both emotional and physical. They want to know where the relationship is headed, how solid the foundation is, and if they can safely pour their love into something lasting. Their love is loyal and all-encompassing, but it also needs reassurance, daily, often wordlessly. Sagittarius, however, moves through life by following inspiration rather than plans. They don't mean to be evasive, they just don't view life through the same lens. To Cancer, this can feel like instability. To Sagittarius, Cancer's deep emotional needs can feel overwhelming, like being pulled into water when all they wanted was to fly. Communication is where the friction flares. Cancer tends to communicate emotionally, often through subtle gestures and tone. They may not always say what's bothering them outright, expecting their partner to intuitively pick up on it. Sagittarius, on the other hand, is direct to a fault. They say what they mean and expect others to do the same. When Cancer withdraws, Sag feels confused. When Sag speaks too bluntly, Cancer feels hurt. Unless they learn to decode each other's emotional languages, these two may miss each other entirely, even when sitting in the same room. Intimacy here is an emotional tightrope. Cancer offers deep emotional nurturing, craving closeness that feels soul-bonded and sacred. They want to build a home not just physically, but spiritually. Sagittarius loves passionately but is often wary of emotional entanglement that feels like a trap. The Archer needs space, mental, physical, emotional. For the marriage to last, Sagittarius must learn that vulnerability doesn't mean loss of freedom, and Cancer must understand that giving Sag space doesn't mean abandonment. It's a careful dance between holding and letting go. Their lifestyles can be wildly different. Cancer dreams of dinner parties at home, cozy weekends under blankets, and building a stable routine. Sagittarius, by contrast, dreams of plane tickets, yoga retreats in Bali, and diving into new cultures. The rhythm of life they crave is just different. If they can't find a shared pace, where one partner isn't constantly compromising their core desires, they'll struggle. But if they agree to blend their worlds, a home base with room for spontaneous escapes, or travel with emotional check-ins, they might surprise themselves. Trust is another obstacle. Cancer needs to feel emotionally prioritized. Sagittarius, though honest, can come off emotionally distant or inconsistent. Their flirtatious, playful nature can trigger Cancer's insecurities, even if there's no actual betrayal. On the flip side, Sagittarius may feel smothered by Cancer's need for closeness and constant reassurance. To move forward, Cancer must anchor themselves in their own worth, while Sagittarius must learn the value of showing up even when it's uncomfortable. Real trust here comes not just from love, but from deliberate, conscious effort to meet in the middle. And yet, there's beauty in their potential. Cancer can teach Sagittarius how to slow down, to find meaning not just in the distant horizon but in the depth of emotional connection. Sagittarius can show Cancer that life doesn't have to be lived from a place of fear or protection, that joy, even with risk, is worth it. This marriage becomes a transformational journey if both are willing to evolve, to soften where they are rigid and stretch where they are too contained. Marriage verdict, a long shot, yes, but one worth fighting for if love is rooted in mutual growth. It's not an easy road, and comfort zones will be shattered. But if Cancer can open their arms without clutching, and Sagittarius can stay without fleeing, they may find that the very differences they feared are what make their love extraordinary. Sagittarius plus Leo. Charisma meets charisma. This marriage is bold, fun, and full of late-night dance sessions and epic vacations. When Sagittarius and Leo unite, it's like throwing glitter into a bonfire, dazzling, dramatic, and impossible to ignore. Both are fire signs, which means their energy is intense, their passions high, and their connection built on shared enthusiasm for life. These two don't tiptoe into relationships, they leap. From their first spark, there's chemistry, confidence, and a mutual understanding that life is meant to be lived loudly and unapologetically. Together, they become the couple everyone notices. Not because they try to steal the spotlight, but because their joy is contagious and their love, magnetic. Leo thrives on admiration, loyalty, and being someone's one and only. They are the kings and queens of the zodiac, not because they demand it, but because they naturally radiate presence and heart. Sagittarius, on the other hand, is the free-spirited explorer, drawn to authenticity, truth, and adventure. They're the truth-teller, the philosopher, the one with a suitcase always half-packed. In marriage, Leo wants to be adored and prioritized. Sagittarius wants to be understood and unrestrained. If Leo feels secure, they'll offer that space willingly. But if their confidence is threatened, pride can flare, and that's when things get tricky. Communication between them is vibrant, expressive, and often hilarious. Both signs are naturally charismatic and have a flair for storytelling, exaggeration, and theatricality. Their home might feel more like a stage, a place where grand declarations and passionate debates are part of the norm. They feed off each other's energy. Leo will thrive under Sagittarius's attention and humor, and Sagittarius will be inspired by Leo's warmth and strength. When they're vibing, they'll hype each other up endlessly, cheering each other on in ways that feel both romantic and empowering. This isn't just love, it's a creative partnership. But both signs come with strong egos, and when those egos collide, sparks can turn to flames. Leo can become possessive if they feel taken for granted, while Sagittarius might bristle at any sign of emotional control. Sagittarius is blunt, they tell it like it is, sometimes without cushioning their words. Leo, though strong, has a sensitive side when it comes to respect and appreciation. If Sag crosses the line with a careless comment, Leo may take it personally. On the flip side, Leo's dramatic reactions can make Sag feel trapped or misunderstood. They'll need to master the art of cooling off without running off, or blowing up. Romance in this pairing is grand. These two believe in going big or going home. Fancy date nights, spontaneous getaways, birthday parties that look like movie premieres, they're all in. Leo brings luxury and generosity, while Sagittarius brings novelty and thrill. This isn't the couple that settles into mundane routines. They'll keep trying new things, creating traditions of their own, and making each other feel alive. Physical chemistry is rarely a problem, it's more about emotional connection and long-term vision. Can they turn all that fire into something stable without dimming the spark? That's the real question. In marriage, their shared optimism becomes a superpower. Both believe in love, in themselves, and in creating a meaningful life. They bounce back from challenges quickly, rarely holding grudges. They don't like dwelling in negativity. Their natural inclination is to move forward, to laugh off the bad and focus on what's next. This can be a gift, but it can also be a trap. If deeper issues go unaddressed in the name of keeping things light, resentments can fester under the surface. Emotional maturity will be the key to turning their fire into a long-lasting flame instead of a burnout. When they're in sync, Sagittarius and Leo can become a true power couple, visionary, generous, and constantly evolving. They inspire each other to grow without losing themselves in the process. Sagittarius pushes Leo to take risks, to loosen up, to laugh more. Leo teaches Sagittarius how to commit with confidence, how to love with heart, and how to stand tall in the spotlight without apology. Together, they're the kind of couple that others admire, not just for the sizzle, but for the substance beneath it. Marriage verdict: a show-stopping power couple, if they can share the spotlight and respect each other's shine. This marriage is high energy, high reward, and anything but ordinary. With mutual respect, emotional honesty, and just enough humility, Sagittarius and Leo can write a love story that's as epic as it is enduring. Sagittarius plus Virgo. One is a philosopher, the other, a perfectionist. At first glance, Sagittarius and Virgo look like they're reading from entirely different life manuals. Sagittarius is the free-thinking adventurer, driven by curiosity, ideals, and a hunger for meaning. They leap before they look, trust their gut, and prefer life a little messy if it means staying inspired. Virgo, meanwhile, is the careful planner, methodical, detail-oriented, and committed to getting things just right. They move through life with precision, making sure every I is dotted, every dish put away, and every plan accounted for. When these two step into marriage, the question isn't if they'll clash, it's whether they can turn those clashes into catalysts for growth. Virgo craves structure and predictability. They find comfort in routines, to-do lists, and thoughtful planning. Sagittarius thrives on spontaneity, freedom, and the open road. Virgo wants a 5-year plan. Sagittarius wants to wake up and book a flight without telling anyone. These differing approaches to daily life can be both infuriating and oddly magnetic. Virgo may initially view Sag as reckless, while Sagittarius sees Virgo as uptight. But under the surface, there's mutual fascination. Virgo is intrigued by Sag's big-picture vision. Sag is quietly impressed by Virgo's ability to create order from chaos. Communication is where this marriage faces its biggest tests, and its biggest opportunities. Virgo tends to be cautious with words, aiming for clarity, politeness, and helpful critique. Sagittarius is blunt, unfiltered, and always searching for truth. Sag might make a joke that Virgo takes personally, while Virgo might offer constructive criticism that Sag finds controlling or nitpicky. Their natural communication styles clash unless they both make a conscious effort to listen without judgment. If they can learn to respect where the other is coming from, not just react, they'll discover a whole new level of emotional intelligence together. There's undeniable tension between Virgo's need for precision and Sagittarius's craving for possibility. Virgo will want to fix the leaky faucet immediately. Sagittarius might want to wait until after their next road trip. Virgo wants to analyze a decision from every angle. Sag would rather follow instinct and figure it out later. Over time, these differences can breed resentment, or foster incredible balance. With love and patience, Virgo can help Sagittarius stay grounded in reality, while Sagittarius can help Virgo loosen their grip on perfection and embrace life's unpredictability. But neither can fix the other, they must learn to evolve together without forcing change. In romance, Virgo is sensual, loyal, and quietly devoted. They show love through actions, service, and subtle emotional care. Sagittarius, while deeply passionate, expresses love through energy, excitement, and exploration. Virgo might want quiet nights in, thoughtful conversations, and little acts of consistency. Sag wants to make love on a balcony in Italy and talk about the meaning of the universe. To truly connect, they must step into each other's worlds. Virgo has to let go of control and embrace the thrill of the unknown. Sag has to learn that romance isn't always about excitement, it's also about consistency and care. One of the greatest gifts this marriage offers is the potential for mutual transformation. Virgo often holds back out of fear of failure, but Sagittarius encourages boldness, risks, and leaps of faith. Sag can inspire Virgo to trust their intuition more, to dream without needing every answer in advance. Meanwhile, Sagittarius, who can sometimes skim the surface, benefits from Virgo's depth, precision, and dedication. Virgo teaches Sag the value of follow-through, of sticking around when things get hard. They each help the other grow into a more complete version of themselves. Trust is built slowly in this pairing. Virgo needs to feel emotionally safe, to know that their partner is dependable. Sagittarius values freedom and can sometimes feel confined by Virgo's caution. To thrive, Sagittarius must show Virgo they can be trusted to stay even when things get difficult, while Virgo must trust Sag enough to let go and breathe. If they can build this mutual faith, where Virgo releases control and Sagittarius embraces responsibility, they'll uncover a love that's stronger for its imperfections. Marriage verdict: difficult, but growth-oriented. This is a relationship that demands effort, humility, and emotional maturity. It may not be easy, but it can be incredibly rewarding. If Virgo learns to look up from the details and Sag learns to stay long enough to notice them, this union becomes a masterclass in balance, healing, and lifelong evolution. Sagittarius plus Libra. This is a light-hearted, romantic pairing. When Sagittarius and Libra come together in marriage, it feels like a scene from a romantic indie film, playful, stylish, filled with laughter, clever dialogue, and a sense of timeless charm. These two signs share a mutual appreciation for beauty, ideas, and the art of living well. Sagittarius brings adventure, bold truths, and philosophical depth. Libra offers grace, social elegance, and a gift for harmony. Together, they paint a picture of love that's both intellectually stimulating and emotionally engaging, at least, on the surface. Their bond often begins with an effortless connection, but lasting love will depend on how deep they're willing to go beneath that glossy, feel-good exterior. Libra, ruled by Venus, is all about relationships, balance, and aesthetics. They crave partnership, not just any partnership, but one that feels fair, respectful, and emotionally beautiful. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, craves expansion, truth, and the freedom to explore ideas, people, and possibilities. Both signs are idealists, and that shared trait creates a solid foundation. They can talk for hours about politics, philosophy, art, travel, and the meaning of life. Sagittarius is endlessly fascinated by Libra's charm and intelligence, while Libra is drawn to Sagittarius's candor and passion. They admire each other deeply, and that mutual admiration is often what keeps them returning to each other. In terms of lifestyle, they're surprisingly compatible. Libra enjoys the social scene, cocktail parties, gallery openings, group dinners, and Sagittarius thrives in environments where ideas are flying and energy is high. They'll likely be the couple with a packed calendar, weekend getaways, volunteer events, couples book clubs, or spontaneous road trips. They love being in love, and they love being seen in love. Marriage for them is about building a shared life that looks as good as it feels, a union that's as much about friendship and inspiration as it is about romance. But here's where it gets complicated: neither of them is especially comfortable with conflict. Libra, in particular, goes out of their way to avoid it. They'll dodge uncomfortable conversations, soften the truth, or sidestep confrontation to keep the peace. Sagittarius, on the other hand, is allergic to pretense. They'll call things out, often bluntly, and can get frustrated with Libra's indirect communication. At their worst, Sag may accuse Libra of being fake, while Libra may find Sag too harsh or emotionally reckless. The result? Tension builds quietly. Resentment simmer. Then, one day, something seemingly small explodes into a full-blown argument because they never dealt with the real issue. Their emotional rhythms also differ. Libra seeks emotional connection through intellectual intimacy and romantic gestures. They want thoughtful conversations, shared decisions, and harmony. Sagittarius, while deeply passionate, tends to operate more independently. They don't always want to check in before making a decision or offer emotional reassurance in the way Libra sometimes needs. For this marriage to thrive, Sagittarius must be willing to slow down and consider Libra's emotional landscape. Libra, in turn, must recognize that Sag's love often shows up in freedom-giving, not constant affirmation. Despite their differences, they actually make a great team when it comes to dreaming big and setting shared goals. Both are naturally optimistic and tend to believe in the best possible outcomes. They'll cheer each other on, offer perspective when the other is down, and support new adventures with genuine excitement. Whether they're starting a non-profit, building a home together, or traveling the world, they both love creating a life filled with purpose and beauty. Their optimism is contagious, and when grounded in reality, it becomes a powerful glue. However, staying grounded is key. These two can sometimes live in the clouds, idealizing each other, their relationship, or their future plans to avoid dealing with the emotional realities of life. If they lean too far into escapism, using travel, busyness, or charm to avoid serious conversations, the marriage may begin to feel hollow. That's why honesty, even when it's uncomfortable, must become their shared practice. Sagittarius must learn to deliver their truth with kindness. Libra must learn that real harmony comes not from avoidance, but from authenticity. Marriage verdict: harmonious and fun, just don't avoid the real stuff. Sagittarius and Libra have the potential to create a vibrant, exciting, and truly inspiring partnership. But to make it last, they must commit to emotional depth, honest dialogue, and facing conflict with open hearts instead of closed lips. If they do, this marriage can be a lifelong dance of beauty, laughter, and evolution. Sagittarius plus Scorpio. Oh boy! When Sagittarius and Scorpio come together in marriage, it's not subtle, it's seismic. From the outside, they look like a paradox. Scorpio is deep, intense, private, and emotionally layered. Sagittarius is light, spontaneous, open, and always chasing the next big idea. But scratch the surface, and you'll find a powerful karmic pull between them. This is one of those connections that feels fated, like they were meant to find each other, no matter how difficult the road ahead may be. It's passion, power, and potential transformation all wrapped into one wild ride. But make no mistake, this marriage is not for the faint of heart. Scorpio doesn't just want love, they want full emotional fusion. They crave soul-deep intimacy, where nothing is hidden and everything is shared. In Scorpio's ideal relationship, trust is sacred, loyalty is absolute, and boundaries are almost non-existent. They want to merge lives, hearts, and purposes. Sagittarius, however, values freedom above all. They love fiercely, but they guard their independence with equal intensity. The idea of emotional enmeshment makes Sag feel caged. They need space to roam, to explore, to think out loud without being analyzed. This creates an immediate tension. Scorpio wants in, all the way in. Sag needs breathing room. Their communication styles are oil and water. Scorpio speaks in emotional subtext, layered, guarded, and often indirect. They test, they probe, and they remember everything. Sagittarius, on the other hand, says exactly what's on their mind, with no filter and little regard for how it lands. They believe truth is sacred, even when it stings. Scorpio might see Sag as reckless, even insensitive. Sagittarius might see Scorpio as manipulative or overly intense. Unless they learn to translate each other's emotional dialects, they'll be having two entirely different conversations, while thinking they're speaking the same language. Trust is one of the trickiest minefields in this marriage. Scorpio's loyalty runs deep, but so does their suspicion. They often need reassurance, emotional transparency, and clear signs of commitment. Sagittarius, while honest, often keeps part of themselves inaccessible, not out of deceit, but because they need personal autonomy to feel whole. This can trigger Scorpio's fear of betrayal, leading to control tactics or emotional withdrawal. Sag, feeling suffocated, might pull away further, which only deepens Scorpio's suspicion. Breaking this cycle requires conscious effort from both. Scorpio must learn to trust without control, and Sagittarius must learn that emotional presence doesn't mean surrendering freedom. The physical chemistry here is often undeniable. Scorpio's intensity and Sagittarius's boldness create a dynamic that is electric and unforgettable. Their sexual connection can be a powerful anchor, one of the few places where they speak the same language fluently. But even in the bedroom, their differences appear. Scorpio seeks emotional bonding through intimacy. For Sagittarius, sex can be a form of exploration or playfulness. If emotional needs go unspoken or unmet, what once brought them together can start to pull them apart. The lesson here is simple but hard: intimacy must be both physical and emotional for this marriage to thrive. Power dynamics can become another battlefield. Scorpio needs control, not necessarily in an authoritarian way, but in a know what to expect, keep the cards close kind of way. Sagittarius, on the flip side, resists being controlled in any form. They don't like being cornered, questioned, or micromanaged. This marriage will be tested when one partner feels the other is exerting dominance, whether through silence, judgment, or overanalysis. For real harmony to take root, Scorpio must soften their grip, and Sagittarius must resist the urge to flee when emotions get intense. It's a balance of passion with respect, desire with trust. And yet, when they do find that balance, this relationship becomes nothing short of transformational. Scorpio teaches Sagittarius how to go deeper, into emotions, into intimacy, into what it really means to stay. Sagittarius teaches Scorpio how to let go, of fear, of control, of the need to know everything. They can become each other's mirror, catalyst, and healer. But it only works if both are willing to evolve. This is not a marriage that coasts. It requires inner work, honesty, and a deep respect for the other's wiring. If they lean into the tension, they don't just love, they evolve each other at the soul level. Marriage verdict: explosive but potentially alchemical. This is a marriage of extremes: love or war, devotion or distance, transformation or destruction. But if Scorpio can loosen their need for emotional control, and Sagittarius can accept the power of emotional vulnerability, they can build a love story that's rare, raw, and utterly unforgettable. It's all or nothing. But if it's all, it's everything. Sagittarius plus Sagittarius. Two archers, one aim. When two Sagittarians enter into marriage, it's like watching two comets blaze across the night sky in perfect rhythm, brilliant, uncontainable, and unforgettable. This is not your traditional love story. It's not the slow-burn domestic romance. It's fire meeting fire in a whirlwind of shared dreams, intellectual debates, and impulsive road trips. These two don't fall in love so much as launch into it. They recognize something in each other instantly: the hunger for more. More knowledge. More experience. More life. And when they decide to make a commitment, it's not because society told them to, it's because they've chosen a fellow explorer to share the journey. Both Sagittarians thrive on freedom. It's their lifeblood. Their ideal marriage isn't one of routines and checklists, it's a passport-stamped, philosophy-filled, laughter-laced partnership built on mutual independence. They'll backpack across continents, start passion projects on a whim, and question every institution along the way. Their home, if they have one, is likely filled with books, maps, and half-packed bags. They're the couple that turns their anniversary into a jungle trek or a last-minute yoga retreat. Their bond grows stronger through shared experiences and the thrill of discovering the unknown together. Their conversations are legendary. Sagittarius is a thinker, a truth seeker, and a lifelong student of the universe. Multiply that by 2, and you get a marriage where dinner feels like a TED Talk followed by a stand-up set. These two bounce ideas off each other like philosophers around a campfire. They'll challenge each other, joke constantly, and dive deep into metaphysics one minute and movie theories the next. Intellectual stimulation is foreplay for these two, and boredom is their mutual enemy. They'll never run out of things to talk about, only time to talk about them. But with so much fire, someone has to put out the occasional blaze. The biggest challenge in this marriage is structure, or rather, the lack of it. Who's managing the budget? Who's calling the dentist? Who remembers to pay the electric bill before they both fly off to Peru? Neither Sagittarius is naturally grounded, and without some agreed-upon anchor points, the relationship can veer into chaos. They both resist routine, so responsibility can fall through the cracks. If they don't actively work together to create a foundation, even love as passionate as theirs can start to feel unstable. Emotional depth is another area where this couple needs to stretch. Sagittarians are optimistic, enthusiastic, and usually more comfortable with ideas than feelings. When life gets messy, grief, insecurity, vulnerability, they may try to laugh it off or philosophize around it rather than face it head-on. Multiply that tendency by 2, and you get a couple that risks floating above the hard stuff instead of working through it. To thrive, they must commit not just to each other's minds, but to their hearts. Staying emotionally present during the hard conversations, without changing the subject or running away, is essential. Another potential pitfall is the very freedom they both crave. Independence is a beautiful thing, until it becomes a reason to emotionally detach. In a Sagittarius plus Sagittarius marriage, it can be all too easy to say, "I need space," and disappear for a while. But who's staying when things get hard? Who's showing up when it's not exciting? That's the real test. They'll need to define freedom not as distance from one another, but as the freedom to grow together. Commitment doesn't have to be a cage, it can be the runway for the adventure of a lifetime. And yet, when this duo finds their rhythm, it's pure magic. They understand each other in a way no one else can. They're not just lovers, they're co-conspirators in a lifelong quest for meaning, joy, and expansion. They push each other to grow, to stretch, to leap. They forgive easily, love generously, and believe in each other's potential almost blindly. Their marriage, when healthy, becomes a living, breathing journey, always evolving, never stagnant, filled with humor, depth, and a shared sense of purpose. Marriage verdict: pure synergy, but needs grounding. This is a high-energy, high-reward partnership that thrives on growth and shared adventure. But without emotional grounding and practical accountability, it risks burning itself out. If both partners are willing to build and structure and stay emotionally connected, even when the road gets rocky, they'll create a marriage that feels like a lifelong expedition with their best friend by their side. Sagittarius plus Capricorn. This is the realist and the dreamer. When Sagittarius and Capricorn come together in marriage, it's not exactly love at first alignment. These two live in completely different zodiac neighborhoods. Sagittarius is the free-spirited philosopher, constantly seeking meaning, truth, and the next plane ticket out of town. Capricorn is the grounded strategist, always building towards something lasting, climbing toward the next goal with precision and discipline. Where Sag sees adventure, Capricorn sees risk. Where Capricorn sees stability, Sag might see boredom. On paper, they're opposites, but in marriage, opposites can either cancel each other out, or create something extraordinary. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of time, responsibility, and long-term investment. They think in decades, not days. They're not afraid to work hard, delay gratification, and build brick by brick. Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, is all about expansion, spontaneity, and the belief that life should be lived to its fullest now. Sag thrives in the moment. Capricorn is always prepping for the future. It's easy to see how this can create conflict. Sag might call Capricorn a control freak. Capricorn might call Sag immature. And sometimes, they're both right. But scratch beneath the surface, and you'll find each partner offers exactly what the other lacks. Sagittarius brings lightness, humor, and a contagious sense of possibility. Capricorn brings order, grounding, and a sense of security. When they're willing to listen, really listen, they can transform each other in meaningful ways. Capricorn teaches Sagittarius how to follow through, how to honor commitments, and how to turn wild ideas into concrete success. Sagittarius teaches Capricorn how to relax, how to laugh, and how to see the beauty of the present moment. The trick is mutual respect. If either partner feels superior to the other, intellectually, morally, or emotionally, this dynamic quickly crumbles. The pace of life is another hurdle. Capricorn is methodical and often prefers well-laid plans. Sagittarius is impulsive and allergic to routine. Sag might wake up and decide to change careers or move across the country. Capricorn will want to talk through the budget, the timeline, the strategy, and not just once. This difference in decision-making can create tension. Sagittarius may feel stifled, while Capricorn may feel blindsided. Compromise is essential here. Sag doesn't need to give up spontaneity, but they do need to consider how their choices impact the bigger picture. And Capricorn must learn that not all growth can be calculated. Sometimes, magic is in the detour. Communication between these two can be deceptively tricky. Sagittarius is blunt, open, and idealistic in their speech. They speak before they think and often believe honesty is more important than tact. Capricorn, while direct, tends to be more measured and guarded. They value maturity in tone and clarity of purpose. Sagittarius might feel like Capricorn is constantly judging them or trying to fix them. Capricorn might find Sag's words careless or unproductive. For true connection, they must practice active listening, focusing not just on what's being said, but why. When they stop trying to win the conversation and start seeking to understand, real growth begins. Trust builds slowly here. Capricorn doesn't give loyalty lightly. They need to see consistency, responsibility, and results. Sagittarius, though faithful when committed, often struggles with the idea of being tied down in the traditional sense. To Capricorn, Sag's love of freedom can feel like emotional unreliability. To Sag, Capricorn's need for control can feel like a lack of trust. The answer? Redefining what commitment looks like. Capricorn must see that Sag's independence is not a threat. Sagittarius must realize that freedom doesn't mean avoiding accountability. If they can co-create their own rules, trust will deepen in surprising ways. Emotionally, they express affection differently. Capricorn tends to show love through actions, doing things for their partner, creating security, and taking care of practical needs. Sagittarius is more verbal, enthusiastic, and physical in their expression. They want adventure, laughter, and meaningful conversation. Capricorn wants loyalty, effort, and progress. If they learn each other's love languages, they can meet in the middle beautifully. Sag can plan a surprise date and show up on time. Marriage verdict, a stretch, but a potentially powerful partnership if they meet in the middle. With effort, communication, and genuine curiosity about each other's inner world, Sagittarius and Capricorn can build a marriage that defies the odds, and becomes something greater than either ever expected. Sagittarius plus Aquarius. Now we're talking. When Sagittarius and Aquarius come together in marriage, it feels less like a romance novel and more like a manifesto for the future. These two are thinkers, dreamers, and rebels at heart. They're not driven by convention or tradition, they're driven by curiosity, ideals, and the thrill of discovering what hasn't yet been imagined. This isn't a union based on clichés, it's an intellectual alliance with sparks flying in every direction. It's about building something unconventional, exhilarating, and rooted in deep mutual respect. Together, they challenge not just each other, but the entire idea of what a marriage is supposed to look like. Both Sagittarius and Aquarius value freedom, not just physical independence, but the freedom to be exactly who they are. That's one of the first things that draws them to each other. Sagittarius sees the world as an endless playground of possibilities and truths to uncover. Aquarius views it as a system to be questioned, redesigned, and liberated from outdated norms. They speak the same language of progress, philosophy, and rebellion, but with different accents. Sag brings fire and spontaneity, Aquarius brings intellect and originality. When they click, it feels like they've finally met someone who gets them. Their friendship is the foundation of everything. Even when they're in love, it's friendship first. This is the couple that finishes each other's sentences, not because they're romantic soulmates in a fairy tale way, but because their minds move at the same frequency. They can spend hours talking about ethics, technology, travel, human potential, and space-time theories, before breakfast. Their ability to stimulate each other intellectually is endless. And because both value growth over stagnation, this marriage rarely gets stuck in a rut. They're constantly evolving, often side by side, and occasionally with matching passports and books in their backpacks. Aquarius understands Sagittarius's need for space better than any other sign in the zodiac. While some partners might misinterpret Sag's independence as emotional distance, Aquarius sees it as healthy. In fact, they need their own freedom just as much. They don't just allow each other room to breathe, they expect it. This creates a rare kind of trust. They don't cling, they don't control, and they certainly don't micromanage. Their version of intimacy is found in mutual autonomy. It's not the traditional, you complete me, love story. It's, you inspire me, and I'm better because of you. That's the glue that holds them together. But here's the challenge, emotional intimacy doesn't always come naturally. Both Sagittarius and Aquarius lean toward detachment when things get heavy. They intellectualize emotions, rationalize conflict, and avoid unnecessary drama. This makes them great at keeping things peaceful, but not always great at vulnerability. When one of them is hurting, they may downplay it or shift the conversation to something abstract. If they want their marriage to deepen, they'll have to get comfortable with emotional messiness. They must learn that it's okay to cry, to admit fear, and to sit in discomfort without fixing it immediately. Romantically, this pairing is inventive, passionate, and refreshingly unpredictable. They may not be the most traditionally romantic duo, but they're endlessly exciting. Sagittarius brings fiery passion, physicality, and enthusiasm to the relationship. Aquarius contributes originality, creativity, and a sense of discovery. Together, their love life is an ongoing experiment, spontaneous getaways, unconventional date nights, and deep conversations under the stars. While they may not always express affection in conventional ways, their bond runs deep because it's built on choice, not obligation. They choose each other, over and over again, not out of need, but out of joy. This marriage is often future-focused. They're not just living together, they're building something visionary. They might co-create a project, launch a startup, or dedicate their lives to social causes. Their shared sense of purpose elevates their relationship from personal connection to cosmic collaboration. They're not here to simply live happily ever after, they're here to change the world, or at least question it until something better comes along. Their synergy makes them one of the most forward-thinking, progressive couples in the zodiac. Marriage verdict, visionary and electric. This is a modern love built on friendship, freedom, and a shared hunger for growth. When Sagittarius and Aquarius commit to cultivating emotional intimacy alongside their mental and spiritual connection, they become an unstoppable force. This marriage won't always follow the rules, but it will redefine what love can look like when two independent souls choose to evolve together. Sagittarius plus Pisces. Two dreamers, two wanderers, one believes in facts, the other in fairy tales. When Sagittarius and Pisces meet in marriage, it feels like two old souls finding each other in a crowded, chaotic world. There's a softness to their connection, a sense of shared curiosity and emotional openness that can feel beautifully rare. They're both mutable signs, which means they're flexible, adaptable, and more than willing to go with the flow, so long as the flow leads somewhere meaningful. But that's where the fork in the road begins. Sagittarius seeks truth in facts, philosophies, and experience. Pisces seeks truth in feelings, intuition, and the intangible. One wants to understand the world. The other wants to feel it. Together, they can create a bond that's nothing short of poetic, or tragically confusing. Pisces is all heart. They dream in watercolor, speak in subtext, and love in a way that feels limitless. Marriage to them is spiritual union, not just a contract or cohabitation. They want to merge souls, build a sanctuary, and share a deep emotional world with their partner. Sagittarius, while deeply passionate, isn't as emotionally tuned in. They're more focused on the journey than the destination, on what's out there, rather than what's within. In this pairing, Pisces may long for emotional depth that Sagittarius forgets to offer, while Sagittarius may crave a level of independence that Pisces finds destabilizing. The challenge? Building emotional fluency between two different love languages. Communication can be both magical and maddening. Sagittarius speaks directly, often bluntly. They're honest to a fault and can unknowingly trample over Pisces' sensitive heart with just a few words. Pisces, in contrast, communicates through nuance, emotion, and subtle cues. They might expect Sagittarius to just know what they're feeling, which is a dangerous assumption. Pisces may retreat into silence or tears when hurt, leaving Sagittarius confused or even frustrated. To succeed in marriage, they must meet in the middle. Pisces must find the courage to express their needs clearly, and Sagittarius must learn that not every truth needs to be delivered at full volume. Their shared love for exploration gives them common ground, but even that plays out differently. Sagittarius wants to backpack through Southeast Asia, discuss religion with strangers, and write a memoir about it all. Pisces wants to swim with dolphins, visit sacred temples, and feel the pulse of every place in their soul. They both crave transcendence, but one seeks it externally and intellectually, while the other seeks it internally and emotionally. If they can combine their styles, say, by making every trip both a physical and spiritual journey, they can experience a deeply fulfilling partnership. If not, Sagittarius may start to feel weighed down, while Pisces may feel emotionally abandoned. Emotional needs in this marriage are complex. Pisces requires tenderness, reassurance, and consistent emotional presence. Sagittarius values honesty, freedom, and space to grow. At times, Sagittarius may view Pisces as overly needy, while Pisces may see Sag as emotionally distant or even dismissive. The truth is, they both want the same thing, meaningful connection, but they have different ideas about how it looks and feels. The key is emotional accountability. Sagittarius must learn to slow down and stay present when things get hard, instead of changing the subject or taking off. Pisces must learn to self-soothe and hold their ground instead of dissolving into the background when hurt. Escapism is a danger for both, though it shows up in different ways. When overwhelmed, Pisces may retreat into fantasy, romanticize the past, or numb themselves with distractions. Sagittarius escapes by physically removing themselves, filling their calendar with adventures to avoid facing discomfort. If these habits go unchecked, they may become ships passing in the night, physically together but emotionally miles apart. To avoid this drift, they must anchor their marriage in intentional connection, shared rituals, honest check-ins, and time set aside for vulnerability. The more they face the uncomfortable emotions together, the stronger their bond becomes. Marriage verdict, whimsical and delicate. This is a marriage built on dreams, compassion, and the willingness to bridge emotional worlds. When Sagittarius and Pisces meet each other with patience, presence, and purpose, they can create a love story that feels like poetry in motion. But it takes more than magic to last. It takes emotional maturity, honest communication, and the willingness to grow not just side by side, but soul to soul. And there you have it, friends, the Archer's compatibility with the entire zodiac in the realm of marriage. From fire for fire fireworks to water meets wildcard mysteries, Sagittarius shows us what happens when freedom flirts with devotion, when curiosity collides with comfort, and when raw honesty dares to meet emotional depth. These matchups weren't about perfection. They were about potential, how two people, with all their differences and contradictions, can choose to learn, adapt, and evolve within the sacred container of marriage. Because love, after all, isn't just about stars aligning, it's about showing up, growing up, and choosing each other again and again. Astrology doesn't promise a fairy tale, it offers a framework. A cosmic compass. It points to possibilities, to patterns, and to the hidden dynamics that either bind us together or quietly pull us apart. But at the end of the day, it's not just about what sign you are, it's about how you show up when it matters. When it's messy. When it's real. So whether you're a grounded Capricorn trying to love a Sag who won't stay still, a fellow Archer looking to share your freedom with someone who gets it, or a dreamy Pisces wondering if wild love can be safe too, remember this: every sign has its strengths, every connection has its lessons, and every marriage has the potential to become a masterpiece if you're willing to co-write the story. If you enjoyed this celestial deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe for more astrological insights, and don't forget to check the links in the description for more cosmic content. Until next time, may your aim be true, and your heart open.